James was born on April 2nd, 3rd BCE. He was the second child born to Mary and Joseph, and he was 3.5 years younger than Jesus. James grew up the way other average boys of his day and age grew up, participating in household chores and eventually attending school. When he was about 12, James took charge of the homeschooling of his 3 sisters, 2 of whom were old enough to begin serious study. At age 13, James was pivotal in diffusing the political crisis that arose when Jesus was 17. He delivered a speech that disarmed all objections to Jesus' decision to remain solely devoted to family duties, rather than joining the zealot cause. Shortly after, Jesus took James to Jerusalem to become a son of the commandment, and thereafter met the 3 close friends of Jesus at Bethany for Passover. At 18 years old, James became head of the family when Jesus went off to work in Sepphoris, and he maintained that position as head for 2 years. In November 20 CE, James married Esther in a double wedding with his sister Miriam, who married Jesus' longtime boyhood friend, Jacob. They moved into a little home on the other side of the town, a gift from her father, while James continued to support his mother. At this time, he was also formally established as head of his father's household by Jesus. A few years later, James moved to Capernaum and shared his home with his mother Mary. For several months, 25 to 26 CE, James worked alongside Jesus in the Zebedee boat shop. And because of this close time together, no matter what doubts came up to becloud James's understanding of the life work of the Son of Man, he never again really and wholly gave up his faith in the mission of Jesus, even though he and Jesus had a long estrangement later on. When Jesus declared that his hour had come, James, his brother Jude, and Jesus left the boat shop to meet John the Baptist at the Jordan. On January 14th, 26 CE, both brothers were baptized with Jesus. They heard the voice that declared, "This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased." During March, April, May, and June 26 CE, James joined the first 6 apostles in Bethsaida while they were being trained by Jesus, and his brother did not lose faith in him. In late June of that same year, Jesus called the 6 apostles together to discuss his plans for visiting the cities around and about the Sea of Galilee. His brothers James and Jude were very much hurt because they were not called to this conference. Up to this time, they had regarded themselves as belonging to Jesus' inner circle of associates. But Jesus planned to have no close relatives as members of this corps of apostolic directors of the kingdom. It was because of this perceived slight that James, as well as the members of Jesus' family, became estranged. Except for Ruth, they all effectively abandoned him. They thought that Jesus had abandoned them, but it was the other way around. James was not able to overcome his hurt feelings and the wounding of his pride. In later years, James suffered as a result of the failure to enjoy earlier association with Jesus and his disciples. But James was favored by a personal visit by Jesus in his 3rd resurrection appearance. It happened about noon on that Resurrection Sunday in the garden of Lazarus' house in Bethany. James and Jesus spent almost 3 minutes together in the garden, speaking of experiences of former days. After the organization of the church in Jerusalem, James was installed as its titular head under the leadership of Peter. The Epistle of James is later included in the New Testament.